But thank you for coming here. A rare opportunity to talk to you about politics. So
well, thanks for having me. Incidentally, I've given a permanent pardon to turkeys.
Yeah.
I'm gravely allergic to it. I go into anaphylactic shock. So I've pardoned every turkey from my table.
When did you last eat turkey?
1999.
Wow.
Thanksgiving.
Since then, you've gone since then? Cold turkey.
Cold turkey, absolutely right.
You won't be sticking around for our food prep section, for a food prep segment later on
I
today.
will not.
Okay.
I will not.
We're going to talk about the past in a little bit, but let's talk about the present and future. You caught
Incidentally, this is a little overwrought. I just want to say that's just a little overwrought, don't you think?
No, it's a proper celebration of your place in American history.
Would you have preferred it if it had a big turd blossom up there?
No. Well, I dare you to put it up there, that picture.
Next segment.
Yeah.
Next segment.
You caught our ear this morning on Morning Joe when you said you thought the three most likely nominees were Jeb Bush, Chris Christie, and Marco Rubio, none of whom are leading in any national or key state polls. Yeah. Why did you think those three guys over, say, Donald Trump or anybody else?
Yeah, well, look, first of all, I was asked to put it down to a smaller number.
Yeah.
I actually think there are 5 or 6 who, if lightning strikes, have a shot at this. But look, let's put ourselves back in late October or early November of either 2007 or of 2011, which is the comparable point to today. Back then we were voting the 1st of January. Now we're voting the 1st of February. So in 2011, we were at the beginning of Kane mania, and we still had Newt Gingrich to go through, and then Santorum wins Iowa, who's nowhere in the polls, and we have Santorum, and it's not until February 28th that Mitt Romney takes command and holds it. At this point in 2007, Romney was ahead in Iowa and then got eclipsed by Huckabee, who loses to the ultimate nominee, who is running 3rd or 4th in the national polls.
You've chosen 3 establishment as the most likely. I understand you, and I agree with you that there's a lot of people who could end up the nominee.
Right.
That suggests that you think that the cycle will turn out the way the cycle has turned out since at least President Reagan, which is an establishment person is most likely to be the nominee.
Well, I'm not certain I'd say establishment. I'd say a somewhat conservative person who can unite the party. Now, but again, look, I readily admit that Trump, I could make a case on how Trump could win, Carson could win, but I don't think it's likely. But I think that if you get down to it in a reverse alphabetical order, Rubio, Kasich, Cruz,
Bush,
Christie,
reverse alphabetical order.
Yeah, difficult.
Let me just ask you one more, and then turn you over to John and talk about Trump. What is the geographic, the calendar path for Jeb Bush to be the nominee? What states does he do well?
He's got to do well. He's got to do well in an early state. Not going to be Iowa. And so the question is, can he do well in New Hampshire and South Carolina?
Couldn't he be the establishment leader in Iowa?
You know what? Look, that is not a state that is a social, conservative, evangelical state. That's why Pat Robertson wins it. It is why Mike Huckabee wins it. It's why Rick Santorum nips Mitt Romney in the state, despite Romney's deep roots from the 2008 race. But it is sui generis. That's why Bush wins it in 2000 when we have the debate, and he's asked his favorite, I can't remember, philosopher, and he says Jesus and Jesus Christ. And I mean, that's sort of, if you were an evangelical conservative, that was better than Socrates.
So let me ask you about Trump, okay? So I know you've said that you can imagine a way in which he could be the nominee, but you don't think it's likely, you don't think he will be, right? So what stops him, right? Usually new information is what kills a frontrunner. We know everything about Donald Trump. He's been through every imbroglio. He's had every self-inflicted gaffe, and yet he continues to dominate. What's the scenario that kills him?
Well, look, that behavior gives him a high floor, but it also creates an increasingly difficult low ceiling. And what happens is not that he blows up, but that the other 70 to 75% of the party increasingly gets to say, we can't accept him, and begins to coalesce behind somebody. This makes the process longer, and given the current shape of the Republican rules and the Republican calendar, it means that this contest could go on and on. Think about this. We're going to have 28 states vote March 12th or earlier, and one of them, grandfathered in as one of the February primaries, can be winner take all or proportional. Take your pick. But the rest, every March primary, all 24 of those are proportional, March 1 to March 12. And out of the 4 February ones, one, South Carolina's winner take all. So we have all these delegates proportional. If you take, for example, the latest Quinnipiac poll and just apply the 30 delegates and split it out, you end up with Trump in front with 7, and right behind him is Cruz with 6 delegates. And so we're going to have the delegate totals are likely to be, by the middle of March, relatively close.
But just in terms of like the way that these nomination contests work in terms of momentum.
They're not working the old way.
So let me ask you this question, yes or no. If Trump wins Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, is he stoppable?
Yeah, it depends on if he's blowing everybody else out or if it is a 25 to 30% win in each one of those states and we start to see some consolidation among the others. Because remember, the other thing that comes into play, this is paradoxical. Starting on the Ides of March, we have winner-take-all primaries. And they're in some big states like Florida and Ohio and Pennsylvania and New York. This could go all the way to June where we have California and New Jersey, winner-take-all primaries on June 6th to actually give somebody a majority of the delegates on the first ballot.
Or not.
Or not, or get them close to it. Right. And I do think I don't want to say there's a big chance, but given the fact that some party rules and state laws require people to vote for somebody on the first ballot or until they withdraw or until they drop below a certain floor, we are likely to have some people walking into that convention saying, I'm voting for somebody who is not on the ballot, not really a contender anymore, but I'm bound by rule or law to vote for him at least on one ballot.